Okay, welcome. Oops. Okay, let's see. Just getting everything set up, hoping somebody's coming. You're coming, right? All right, today we are going to be sewing lavender eye pillows with a removable cover. And I'm going to wait a minute or two to get started. Okay, let's see. Hello and welcome to my YouTube Live. My name is Tara Reed. I'm an artist, a fabric designer with Riley Blake, and I love teaching and sharing easy sewing projects, beginner quilting, and all the fabric-y things, except for clothes. I don't do clothes. I mostly sew with cotton, 100% cotton, because that is what I design, and I do love to sew with the fabrics that I have designed, that have my art on them. It's pretty cool. Pretty amazing. If you had told little Tara that I was going to get to do this one day, and I wouldn't have believed you. Oh, good. Some people are coming. Hi, Joyce from Arizona. Sandra from Indiana. I was talking to myself for a minute there. That is never fun, I have to tell you. So I am very glad you are with me today. So a few weeks ago, I think, it's hard to keep track, I did a tutorial, not live, but just I posted a tutorial for this lavender eye pillow that is shaped like an eye mask. And I have to tell you, I love it. I go to sleep with it every night now. And, you know, it's just part of my routine. I put my eye drops in because I'm of the age where dry eye hits us. And then I just put this on there, and I love the smell of it, and I love just a little bit of the weight of it. And then it's always fun to try and find it in the bed later in the middle of the night because it comes off. Hi, Lisa. We got Lisa from Arizona. We have Texas, Idaho. We got everybody. Where's the East Coast? Oh, there we go. See? Linda, North Carolina. So anyway, I did this tutorial, and in there I said, hey, anybody want to see it with a removable cover? Because I love the shape of this, but you can't wash it because it's hard to make a cover for this shape. So a few people have reached out, a few people commented, and they're like, yes, yes, we want a removable cover. So that is what we're going to be doing today. So we're basically making the same thing, but we're going to put the lavender and whatever material you want in a little bag, and then we're going to make a cover that has this little pocket that you're going to put it in. So you can take this off, run it through the wash, so, you know, if it has makeup on it or just you take it camping and it gets gross or whatever. And these are actually faster and easier to do than the other one, which is super fast and easy to do. So given that it is May, and if you have kids in school, you might be thinking like, what am I going to do for their teacher? I say do this. It's going to be great. So we're going to get into that in a second. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about my membership program. So let me know in the comments if you quilt. Do you guys quilt? Do you want to learn to quilt? Have you never quilted? Like, what's your experience? And you don't have to quilt or even want to quilt in my membership, but we're starting something. Oh, geez, hold on. I'm being irresponsible with my iron. 1 second. Okay, good. Caught that in time. Anyway, we're starting. I do live events with my members, similar to this, but usually a little more in-depth every month. And on Sunday, this Sunday, the 18th, we're starting an 8-month? Yeah, an 8-month program that is perfect for anyone who wants to learn to quilt, even if you have never quilted before. We are going to start and finish a project by December 8th. And it's going to take you step by step through learning how to quilt without seeing like some beautiful, crazy, complicated quilt, trying it and going, I can't quilt because that didn't work. it's kind of like trying to teach a kindergartner calculus. No, they need to learn the numbers first. So we're going to go step by step. I have a whole process, and I would love for you to join me. I do have a promotion right now. My annual membership is normally $250. You get the whole year. You also get to pick out some free fabric that I will mail to you. And you can get $50 off of that with the code annual50. And there is a link below this video that gives you the link and the details. So, all right, let's see. Love to quilt, learning. Very little, pot holders and small bags, totally good. So anyway, in my membership, I actually did a count this morning. I started it less than a year ago, but I have 207 things in there. From technique library, where it shows you, here's this tool and how it works. Here's this concept and how it works. Like, here's how to pull up your bobbin thread. You like get in, learn, get out fast. Then I have full quilt patterns, lots of quick sewing projects, sewing for the kitchen, sewing for kids, sewing for dogs, like all these different things. And some of them are exclusive. So today, I'm going to switch cameras. We're going to be doing these lavender eye pillows, and members will get a free written instructions as well. And they also get this little printable that is just like perfect for a gift to tell everybody how to use it. So I have to give my members some little extras. So if you weren't here right when I started, I did a tutorial. You can find this on my YouTube channel for this eye pillow that looks like an eye mask. And it has flaxseed and lavender in there, and I love it. I use it every night. But there were some requests for making one that had a removable cover. So that's like, this is has the flaxseed and lavender in it. And then this is the cover. So this is what we're going to do today. So let's start by talking about what you need. Get this all organized. Let's see. And I'm doing all of this. Hold on, let me go back here. So I'm a woman of many cameras. I have 3 cameras set up. I've got a switcher, I've got a computer, and I've got a monitor. So if I ever feel like I'm pausing weird, it's because I'm checking stuff. So if I don't respond to a comment right away, it's because I'm sewing or, you know, looking at everything else. Anyway, back to our project. So for the lining or the bag, I don't know what you want to call it. We're going to call it the bag. So for the bag, for the stuff, you need 1 piece of fabric, 9 inches by 9 inches. And I feel like when we do projects like this, we usually think, oh, it's a bag, it needs to be white, or it needs to be muslin, or whatever. But actually, it doesn't. There's some caveats to that, though. So I was practicing and making a few of these, and I thought, oh, well, I need to go find more white scraps. And I wanted to make this one with the sunflowers, and I thought, I've got a ton of bee scraps. Why can't I make a bag out of that? So that is what I did, which I've showed you a couple times. And it works great because I'm putting a dark fabric on top, so you don't have any idea what the bag looks like, right? But if we used the bees with this flower fabric, well, you can kind of see through it. Let's do a different example. Say I used this scrap with this, not the best, because you can tell something's under there. So just, if you want to use your scraps, and I'm always a big fan of using my extra pieces, my bits and baubles of fabric, you can pick anything for the bag as long as it is lighter than your cover. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, Wyoming. Besides lavender, what else would work? Yeah, some people don't like lavender, right? I guess you could do any scent. Like you could just put a material, I keep calling it a material, something in there. So I like to use whole flaxseed. It's really important to do the whole seed, because if you heat this or freeze it and it's like ground flaxseed, it's almost like flour and it'll just like puff. So you need whole seeds. You could also use rice. I've seen people use buckwheat. So you could just put something in it and not do like the lavender if you don't like that. And then you could maybe put essential oils on it. Like you could just take the bag and put like 2 drops of whatever flavor you like. say if somebody has a cold, you could put some eucalyptus on there, or you could put orange on there, just whatever you like. As far as other things to put in it, I'm not sure what you would put in other than lavender, but that's a great question, Tamara. Thank you. Okay, so 9 by 9 for the bag. Then for the cover, 20 inches by 5 inches. And make sure you pay attention if you're using directional fabric, that the direction is going like this, you know, coming on the skinny way. And it wasn't like the flowers going this way. Although, I guess it could work. Let's see. Take this off of here. So I kind of like it like that, because if you're laying and somebody comes and sees you, it's going to be like that. But you could have it where it goes like that. Anyway, I'm in the weeds on that. So 5 by 20. So just 2 pieces of fabric. Then you need your fillers. I like to start with a 1/2 cup of each. And then you can kind of decide. Now, if you're not a huge fan of lavender, or somebody might be sensitive to it, put less lavender. If you're going to be selling these, you might want to put less lavender. I made one last night and showed it to my husband, and I had added more lavender, and he's like, oh, this smells too bad. So if you're doing it for yourself or for people, you know, that you kind of know, I would put maybe 1/2 cup of each in, and then hold it closed and lay down and put it on and decide, does it smell too much? Does it have enough stuff in it? Is it comfortable? How do I like it? And then you'll get a feel for how you want to make them. There is also a link. This is, I got on Amazon, I think it was like $10. I have made 6 eye masks already, and I have all of this left. So it really does go a long way. Then I'm going to show you a couple ways to finish the cover so that it doesn't fray. Pinking shears or a wavy rotary blade, or you can zigzag, or you can use a serger. I'm going to show you how to use a hot ruler. I don't know if you have ever used one of those before. Let me know. Do you know about hot rulers? If you've watched me much, you know about quilters clappers, because they're like one of my favorite things. And an iron. And then I just made this new ironing thing. I'm going to have a video of how I made that. I just was getting really tired of my ironing board being too small. So I made a new one this morning. Okay, so we're going to make, well, we're going to do it kind of at the same time. So for the bag, what you're going to do is you're just going to fold it in half. And we're going to sew here and here. So I'm just going to clip that just so it stays together. And for anything to do with the bag, you want to use a small stitch length. So like 1.8 to 2.0, because we don't want anything sneaking out. Now for the cover, I'm just going to do this now so we can go back and forth a fewer times. You're going to take both of the long ends and you're going to fold it down 1/4 inch and another 1/4 inch. It doesn't have to be precise. We're basically just trying to encapsulate that raw edge to be the ends of our little pocket. Okay, you need to get out of my way for now. So basically on this pocket, you don't want raw edges there, and you don't want raw edges there. So that's what we're doing first. And since it doesn't have to be super precise, I just roll it twice and then press that. Okay. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine. We're just going to sew straight down these two and sew that. All right. Wake my little machine back up. Excuse me, allergy season. Well, I meant to get a much cuter leader fabric for you, but I didn't get that done. So this is a leader fabric. It's basically a very small scrap of fabric that I use to start and stop, like so that I don't end up with bird's nests on my project. So when you're starting, if you're starting to sew off the edge of fabric, I use a leader fabric, which I put under the needle or under the foot. I make sure it covers the feed dogs, and then I'll just put the foot down. So I'll start back here. There may get a little bird's nest. Then when I get onto my project, I'll go forward and back to knot. So this is instead of pulling up your bobbin thread, because you don't need to take the time to pull up your bobbin thread when you're going edge to edge. So this is much faster. And it sometimes will, you know, it'll sew on both, so it sticks a little bit. Where did my scissors go? I keep a magnet on my sewing machine so that I don't lose my scissors. But somehow I did. Okay, found another pair. So you just cut that leader fabric off when you're done. And because this is so long, you can just twist it. And instead of starting and stopping with a leader fabric twice, you can just daisy chain the front and back. And then I'm just going to add our bag on here, and I'm going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam. And remember, we're using a small stitch length on the bag. The flaxseed is, oh, there's my scissors were right in front of my face. Wow, okay. Doing good here today. The flaxseed isn't going to come out even if you use a regular stitch, but some of that, the stuff in lavender, dried lavender, gets pretty small. So I just, kind of like when you're doing a quilt block, I just go with a small stitch length just to be safe. And then the other thing you want to make sure you do is you want to make sure you go all the way to the end, if not slightly over, because if you were to leave like a 1/4 inch of space on the corner of that bag, you're going to have escapees. All right, so we have both of those sewn. We're going to go back to the workspace. And if you have any questions or comments or fun things to share, feel free to throw that in the comments. I would like to know, here's what I'd like to know, how long everybody has been sewing. And have you sewn consistently? Like, I have not been a consistent sewist in my life. I started in middle school. My first, I think it was we had home ec back when I was in middle school, and I think I made an apron. And then my friend's mom helped me make a wraparound skirt, and I was hooked. This was in the 80s. We had Bermuda bags. I don't know if you remember those, where you could change the covers and held all the buttonholes. And so I learned how to use my mom's buttonholer. They have come a long way. Now I'm going to just clip these corners very carefully. Don't clip your stitching. I know it's hard to see because I use white thread. So I always do 2 cuts so I get a little bit more of that fabric off. It gives you a better point. Not that we need a really good point, because this is the bag that's going inside a case. It's not going to be a finished look. Okay, so I'm going to turn that right side out. I'm going to get that seam on the edge. I'm going to just quickly press that. This doesn't have to be exact, again, because it's going to go inside the cover. Now here is an area where I deviate from some people. So some people would say, okay, now put all your stuff in and then fold it under and sew it. Well, I'm a big fan of making things easier. So I say we are going to fold this top raw edge under like a 1/4 inch, not under, in, I guess, and press it before we have any stuff in here. It's much easier to use your iron when you don't have to worry about your flaxseed or your rice or whatever you're putting in here escaping, right? Okay, Joyce has been sewing for 50 years. Nice. More time. Okay, what I got married, let's see, coming up on 13 years with my second husband, and He didn't know that I sewed at all for like 8 years. And we'd been together 5 years before we got married. So he's like, you sew? And I was like, oh yeah, I know how to sew. No problem. Now we have sewing machines and this is kind of all I do. Now I lost my funnel. Okay, I found it. Now we are going to put stuff into the bag. And I'm going to be using whole flaxseed and lavender. Now I have tried taking it like this and pouring it. And I will tell you from experience, it's not a good idea. It'll end up all over your table. So I would make a paper funnel that is a little bit smaller than the opening to your bag. So you can get it into the bag about 1 inch. You don't want the funnel popping out. And then you want to make sure it's a little bigger at the top so that you can just really quickly pour that in. Whoops. We had a little bit of escaping. Not too bad though. Okay. So I know this is the same amount that I put into this one, but this was a little bit of a different shape. So I'm just going to really hold this closed so that it doesn't come out. I'm just going to kind of smooth it and make sure I like how much is in there. It goes on your eyes, so you don't want it overfilled. You don't want it too heavy because you don't want to put a lot of pressure on your eyes, but you want to have enough that if you want to heat it or cool it for a migraine or a headache or just because, that it's going to make a difference. So this one feels fuller than this one. So I'm going to put a little bit more flaxseed in this one. Hi, Jennifer. My friend, one of my besties, is the one that just said she knows how to sew, but it's not pretty. Her daughter's going to outdo her in the crafty department any day if she hasn't already. But Jennifer also designs fabric. Jennifer Pugh, if you recognize that name. She works with Wilmington Prints. Okay. So you can see it's not an exact science. You're just kind of winging it here. Now I'm going to take 2 clips to make sure that doesn't then fall out all over the place. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let me look. Oh my gosh, Lisa, you made all your maternity clothes? Wow. I don't do clothes, Lisa. I did make clothes for my niece and my son when you could make baby clothes out of, cotton. They were pretty easy. But actual clothes, no, didn't do that. Okay, now before I go back to the sewing machine, we're going to work on our cover. We want to put it down face up. Get this out of the way. And I'm going to show you how to use this hot ruler. So, old school way, oh my goodness. We're going to fold one side back 1.5 inches. So old school way, I would do this. I would fold it back, and then I would take a ruler and I would see how good my eyes were. Like, well, 1 3/4, so then scooch it, hope it's about even, and then press. That works. What I love about this thing, especially for bigger projects, but I like it for this too, especially if I was going to make a lot at once, this will make it faster. This is called a hot ruler. It's by Clover, and if you could feel it, it's kind of fuzzy, got kind of a fuzzy feel to it, and it's flexible, and you can iron right on it. So, and it has all the markings. So this is like the 1 inch, so I need it to go to here. So I'm just going to I'm going to put it down. I'm going to line this edge, because this is a rectangle, right? Line the edge up with this line, and then fold that back and just push until it hits that 1.5. Then I can just iron right on top of it. It's extra handy when you're doing something long. Like if we were ironing 1/4 or 1/2 inch on the long edge, that's when you want 3 hands, right? Because you're folding it down, you're hoping it's right, you're doing the iron, you're measuring, and you just really want 3 hands and you don't have them. But this makes it a lot easier. Now we're going to fold the other side up, and I don't use a hot iron for this. It's easier to use a clear ruler. I'm putting this clear ruler at 1/2 inch from that fold, and then I'm just going to line that up. So the first one went down 1.5 inches. This one is basically overlapping it 1 inch, coming to a 1/2 inch from that fold. Make sure these raw edges are nice and lined up. Press that. And then let's see. Okay. Oh, Sandra wants to know where you can find the directions. There's going to be, the members of my Sew with Tara Reid will get written directions. Otherwise, you're going to have to take notes. I might add them to my blog. I'm not sure yet. I just decided to do this yesterday at 6, so I've been busy getting ready to do the video. Okay, so that's ready to sew. We're ready to sew the bag shut, so we're going to go back to the sewing machine. I do try and always do well-written directions for my members for my projects. There's a few that don't have written directions yet, and all of the videos and everything are ad-free. Some of the things I have directions on my blog, but you're also then sorting through ads. The big bonus of becoming a member is the exclusive content and no ads, in my opinion. Okay, so we're going to use this leader fabric again. Get onto the project, knot it, lift my foot so it doesn't go on there. So now we have this overlap area, right, where this is, and then I can feel the other one right here. So I'm going to make sure that I go forward, back, and forward to catch that pocket, because that's where we're going to have the most strain when we're using this cover, like when somebody's taking it on and off and putting it in the laundry. Now I'm choosing to just straight stitch this 1/4 inch from the edge. If you have a serger, you could serge this instead, and then you're not going to have any fraying issues. Or you could use a zigzag stitch, or I can't remember what it's called. I should know the name of it. Isn't there a stitch where it's like it goes straight and zigzags? So it's kind of like a serger, but on a regular machine. Do that. You could do that. But I just wanted to keep my one foot on here for the whole project. So I'm going to show you the alternate ways to make sure this isn't going to fray a bunch inside this cover when you're taking it on and off. And I can tell by how slow it's going, I do still have it set to the small stitch length, which I don't really need for the cover, but I forgot to change it. So, better too small than too big. All right, and we'll leave that on there. And now I'm going to sew the bag shut. And when I do that, I'm going to make sure all the stuff is over here and it's nice and flat. And we're just going to sew pretty close to the edge. And just like when we sewed down the side and the bottom, you want to make sure you go all the way to the edge. Don't leave enough space that anything could escape. Believe it or not, we are almost done. These things are so quick. I love them. Okay. All right. So we have our bag, and now we just need to, oh no, we're not done. Okay, hold on, let me see. I need to get to the cutting surface. This is one issue with my bigger ironing surface, is what do I do with it when I need the cutting surface? Okay. There we go, presto changeo. So because I didn't serge, because I don't have a serger, and I don't have room for one, and I didn't zigzag, I have these raw edges. Let me put something under it so you can really see, like it's already fraying. See? Big old mess. It would be a big old mess if I just leave it. So, two options. You can use a wavy rotary blade or pinking shears. Now, I love pinking shears for clipping curves and corners. It's so much faster than going And they're also great for preventing fraying. So if you have pinking shears, you're just going to go right up the side. Make sure you're not cutting the stitching. And by trimming this into those little triangles, you're not going to get big fraying. You might get a teeny bit. And these are the Fiskars. They're my favorite. I think this is a patented action. I think they're the only ones that have it. It's so much easier on your hand and especially your thumb. And with all the sewing and cutting that we do, we have to pay attention to stuff like that. So the other option is to use a rotary blade. And I just always keep a rotary cutter that has this wavy blade on it. Now I'm going to put the ruler so that the stitch line is past the edge, because I do not want this to touch my stitching. You do have to make sure you change these wavy blades more often. Like if you're using a straight blade, you can press harder and you can make that thing work longer than maybe it should. And if it skips a little bit, you can fix it, right? With going over it again or with scissors. It's a lot harder with a wave. So you do need to make sure this stays nice and sharp. And because I'm starting up here where it is folded over, I'm going to have to do a bit of pressure there to get through all those layers. So let's see how we do. Yay, it worked. All right, let me get my ironing thing back up here because then you'll be able to see this again. Okay, so this side is the wavy cut with the rotary blade. This side is pinking shears where I wasn't totally consistent, but it doesn't matter. It's on the inside. Either one of those works, or serge or zigzag. Now all we need to do is turn this right side out. Push out the corners. You can use a turning tool or, I don't know, I always like to suggest chopsticks. I've never actually brought any chopsticks up here to use, but they work. A closed pen. All right, so now we have our case and we have our bag of goodies, which, wow, I really did fill that one. And then all you do is put that in there. So I usually get the front end and then I just kind of shake it. Okay, I overfilled it. That makes it a little more difficult. Come on. I wish you could smell my room right now. It is delicious because I do like the smell of lavender. So now I'm just kind of wiggling it to get the bags flat and even with each other and kind of spread out the flaxseed and the lavender. And that's it. It is ready to go. Now over time, the lavender buds will kind of not smell as much as when you first take them out and put them in, but all you need to do is shake them and it'll kind of reactivate the scent. And just like with choosing a different flavor, if you know it's 3 years down the road and you're like, my lavender doesn't smell anymore, you could just make a new bag to fit into the cover if you still love the cover, or you could add essential oils, whatever you want. So anyway, that's it. That was a pretty quick one. So let me know, before you leave, let me know in the comments if you're going to try this. Like, are you going to make one for yourself? Are you going to make one for a teacher? Are you going to save this in your back pocket for the holidays? This would be a great stocking stuffer, coworker gift, girls' weekend, swag bag. I don't know, so many. Ooh, bridal shower, favors, so many ways that you can use these and give these to people. And then also, I hope that you check the link below the video. Check out my membership. We have a lot of fun in there, and we're going to start some big fun with the quilting project that is going to start on this Sunday. And what we started doing last month, we tried it on Zoom, and then I realized Zoom is limiting me or making me pay, and I can do it on Google Meet for free for 24 hours, which I'm never going to do. I'm not going to marathon sew for 24 hours. But we're going to do it on Google Meet so that I can see everybody and we can like talk to each other instead of now where I'm staring at a camera talking to you and you're type chatting at me. So let's see. All right, we got people are going to make this for gifts. Yeah, these I love little projects like this, and I've got lots of them in the membership. So thank you guys so much for coming, and happy sewing. I'm going to go back to my evening.